now tuned in to the Social Intelligent Podcast. And now here's your host, the lovely Deja.
I'm here with my older sister and my nephew, so you hear a little one in the background. That's just little David. But we're talking about, today I'm hoping that we can cover a little bit of ground when it comes to natural hair, curly hair, namely biracial hair. That is actually but I hear a lot of criticism. I don't always hear a lot of suggestions or helpful hints when it comes to maintaining natural hair or maintaining biracial hair. And what do you suppose is the best way to refer to it anyway? Mixed hair?
Well, truth be told, hair is hair. And thanks for having me on today to talk about a subject that I'm so passionate about.
Yes, absolutely.
Because the Bible does refer to a woman's hair as her glory.
Yes.
And so for me it is very important that all women feel empowered when it comes to their hair, namely their glory, because it's a part of who we are, whether we're of one nationality or one cultural descent or more than one. You know, hair is hair, so that's the main thing that I want to stress.
Yes.
However, there are, I don't know how many different types of combinations as far as curl patterns, the density, the thickness, the length, the texture, as far as, there's many classifications of different types of hair. I know that there is that term, quote unquote, good hair.
Yeah.
But if you ask
Which
me,
is an interesting movie, by the way.
It is.
Speaking of good hair, I was like, whoa, there was
Chris Rock really, he hit a lot of good topics as far as the quote unquote hair subject is concerned.
It's very controversial even right now, with especially like the natural hair movement. You know, everybody there's people that love it, there's people that think that, and God bless Mom, but she really doesn't care too much for the natural thing. You're never going to get a job like that. At the time that I was, looking around to possibly transfer to another company, and I was putting in applications, I would mention it to Mom, and before you go on those interviews, let me know, because you need to get your hair braided or something, and you're never going to get a job like that. It's like, oh, geez.
Yeah, it's very interesting, though, how more accepting, I would say, that our culture is becoming. People are embracing their natural tresses more and more, and I think that it's pretty awesome. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your hair, and if you can't be proud of it, I don't know who else can.
Very true.
It's definitely more cost efficient to embrace your own hair, and I mean, at the end of the day, if you love your hair and really take care of it, there's no reason why your hair can't be just as beautiful as the next person's. Just find a style that suits you.
This is true. So if we can back up, Dal, and I'm referring to you as Dal because you're my sister, but Dahlia for the rest.
The red Dahlia, better known professionally.
Yeah, and this is in fact, we're recording live from her beauty. Well,
my studio.
By the time you all hear it, it won't really be live, but that's fine. Her beauty salon studio with. I'll be sure to share some information about her business. Specializing in natural hair, would you say?
Yes.
Yes, although you have expertise in updos, braids, anything, especially right now being wedding season, and so you guys be sure to check her out. I'll include that, but give us a little bit of a background with your expertise, and why do you feel so passionate about natural hair, or is that just the way it worked out? It wasn't really a preconceived idea, or was it?
Well, back when we were children, I'd say 9 years old or so, that's when I really started to kind of play around with different things, having 3 sisters, and then a multitude of cousins, both male and female, that wore their hair long. I played around with braids for a while, but I would say I really got a jump start as far as natural hair styling and really coming into my own as a stylist in college at Grambling State University in Louisiana.
And Grambling is near, for those who aren't familiar with that city, What's the closest?
The closest city, one exit up, is Ruston, Louisiana. A more familiar by name city might be Monroe, Louisiana, or Shreveport, which is an hour away. Monroe is about half an hour away.
Okay. So the sisters were out there with were a lot of them natural, and this was back in the earlier 2000s.
Yeah, 2004, 2005.
So you have a lot of experience in about 10 years or so.
Yeah, I got a relaxer at 9 years old or so.
I think I was probably 12 or 13.
You have relaxers coming up, and so being away at college and not really having the funds to keep up a weekly hair appointment, I had to get creative. And so, one day after a long, long time without a relaxer, I started to notice that natural curl pattern popping in. I mean, next thing I knew, I was wearing twist outs and coil outs and natural updos and braids, and it really took off from there. I even tried locks for a while.
I remember that too.
So I've really had a lot of personal experience with different hairstyles and techniques, colors, and things like that.
Right. With your personal experience, would you say, and this is a very controversial thing, would you say that relaxers aren't the best thing to do in terms of taking care of ethnic hair and what's best for your hair?
Well, if we want to go deep, anything that contains a chemical or that could potentially burn you if left on too long, I'm sure anybody could create a fabulous argument on why that would be something to avoid.
Yeah.
However, as science and time has proven, there is a method of which and a technique that you can take to safely apply any chemical product that you choose. But I think the main thing is the health of the hair. If you're going to wear a relaxer, that's fine, but you have to take care of it. You can't just slap it on there, leave it on there half an hour, and then not sleep with the silk or satin scarf on and not moisturize your hair properly. It'll be broke off before the weekend is out.
Let me pause you right here with the silk or satin scarf. And both of us are in interracial marriages. I don't know if I think I told Deja this. It was probably 2 a.m. She was cracking up laughing. I don't think I told you. Frank and I don't wrap my hair very often. I should, and I know better because when we was kids, Mom, you better wrap that hair up. So I had dug out an old pair of stockings because I had just twisted it myself, and I didn't want it to look messed up by the next morning. I had spent so much time. So I dug out a holy pair of stockings as in pantyhose for those who don't use the term. And I was putting it on, and Frank was like, "Why are you putting pantyhose on your head?"
Pantyhose.
Of course. I was like, "Oh, these stockings." I was like, "I gotta have my." What are you using that for? Now he's heard of do rags,
right?
Because he's seen everybody.
It's a similar concept.
It's similar, but it's kind of double whammy, more bang for your buck. Okay, instead of throwing these stockings away,
right?
I can just
get a double use out of them.
But it's Mom's fault. She the one told us about using old stockings.
That's true.
I don't know how many people do that.
That's very true.
But anyway, so I thought that was the funniest thing ever. I said, "Oh, geez."
And I bless Mom's heart for the concept, but nylon is almost as bad as cotton when you come to putting it on your head. It's the material that it's made out of is very similar to cotton, and so it can be very drying and harsh on the hair. But as far as protecting the style to last overnight, we found that to be a applicable method. So.
Right. So going back to, and we kind of briefly talked about this, and this was something I was concerned about because regarding biracial girls and having the good hair versus not so good hair. I've seen a lot of biracial girls that their hair looks pretty bad. Natted in the middle, not really. And you've probably had a lot of concerned parents come in.
I have.
Okay, well, what should we do? What can we try? Dad was coaching a basketball team, the junior high that we went to. And there was a black girl on the team. She was black like us, but she was adopted by a Caucasian parent. And I remember her hair was, and I said to her, because I was the manager, I was Dad's manager, and I said to her, "We got to do something about your hair." I remember it kind of just came out because I felt bad. But anyway, she told one of them. And like a couple of days later, she was like, "Do you know where she can get her hair done, or is there a place that your mom takes you guys to?" I guess she thought that we went to a salon or something, but we just Mom did ours. I was like, "My mom does it," and she was like, "Oh, great. Do you think your mom can do hers?" And I remember she came over, And Mom, she's like, we'll try anything and this and that. And so Mom said, well, she can get a perm. That's easier. I can press it. And I remember her getting a perm. Mm-hmm. And she was so happy. Like, after it was all over with, and she was so happy. And she was able to comb her hair. And I'm sure you've seen similar situations.
Yeah, and before we delve into that, because I know it's a sensitive subject.
It's very sensitive.
Just sensitive. Even as far as the fact that her parents were willing to try anything, quote unquote. And to kind of backtrack just a little, it goes back to products. If you have a good conditioner, now professional products are, of course, more professional, more costly, right. But also with that you get the quality a lot of times.
This is very true.
Okay,
yeah.
So, but if you're even just doing hair at home, if you can get a good quality conditioner, even if you shampoo it and all that good, if you can get a good conditioner, then you can make up for a lot of what happens between washing it and not.
Now, people don't really understand the whole concept of conditioning. Getting into a regimen.
Yeah. Getting those essential oils into the hair, replacing what you stripped out, whether it be from shampooing, whether it be from working out. You're replacing those essential oils that normally and naturally come out of your scalp. Mm-hmm. You're replacing them artificially with the liquid conditioner. And if you can let it sit on even a couple extra minutes, you'll definitely notice the difference as time goes on.
And there's also the leave-in conditioner, which I use a lot, which really locks in the moisture. And the only time I really like to wash that out is when it starts to get all built up.
But as far as the relaxers, whether your hair is relaxed or whether your hair is natural, keeping it conditioned, properly cleaned, and keeping it moisturized, whether it be with a scalp oil or some sort of leave-in conditioner or something, so that the hair doesn't get dry, because dry hair breaks.
Yes.
It does. Yeah. And even if you don't wash it as often, if you're keeping it conditioned and moisturized properly, it's going to grow. Mm-hmm. It's going to grow, and it'll be that much more healthy.
What are some common misconceptions that you've come across in your experience?
The first misconception is that mixed hair is good hair. There is no such thing as good hair. Anybody can have good hair. If your hair is properly taken care of, then you have good hair.
Right. Now,
granted, some curl patterns and hair textures do hold curl a lot better than most, and we could probably take a guess at what type of curl patterns or textures that might be. And then, of course, if someone prefers to wear their hair straight and low maintenance, then that works for them. But the term good hair, I don't really like to use that, because it really even goes back to the self-esteem that you're encouraging into these ladies when you're talking about their crown and glory.
And it reinforces the negative stigma with kinky hair, coiled hair, because that's, at one time, that was not considered,
But think about it. It's because we didn't have access, and I'm saying we loosely as a people, generationally and over time, we may not have had access to the best products and able to really do the things that we probably knew. I mean, I don't know how true the whole juices and berries concept is of coming to America, but if you think about it, Madam C.J. Walker, which was the first black woman billionaire, was
self-made. In her kitchen, right? Is that one of the kitchen beauticians, as they called it back in the day?
It came from.
Right. And so what was it exactly that was so groundbreaking about what she was doing?
She gave black women their pride back as far as their hair is concerned. She came up with a line of products that were moisturizing, that contained essential oils, and all it took was a few ingredients out of her kitchen.
Right?
Mayonnaise, egg, castor oil, coconut oil, carrot oil, shea butter, lavender, aloe, eucalyptus, in which everything I've named is 100% natural. But it just goes back to the fact that we have everything in the earth that we can need.
And I've seen, those are some of the products that I use the most have avocado, carrot oil, shea butter. I love the smell of that, especially.
It's really popular.
I use that a lot with my daughters.
Coconut oil.
Yeah, coconut oil. That's one of the most. Man, you can't go wrong with some coconut. That's good for skin. That's good for hair.
Yeah.
stretch marks. Those of us who have had children, it really
It's
works.
the essential oils.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell me about. Do you have like a? I don't know if it's a daily, weekly, monthly. What are some of the most promising regimens that people can, if they have really damaged hair? What sort of things do you suggest when they're in a situation where they really don't? Do you suggest the big chop, as they call it? Can you? Because I didn't even actually do that. Remember when I went from
you grew it out
natural? Well, some of it. I think at the last minute I cut the last part of it out. So what do you suppose is the best way to go about trying to go from very damaged hair transitioning to, natural, healthier hair?
This is an aggressive approach that I'm going to share with you. I go back to the conditioning because it's very important to have those essential oils, and I can't stress it enough. Dry hair breaks, and that's just what it goes back to. So if you can keep your hair with a deep conditioner, whether it be made out of eggs and mayonnaise and avocado, or whether it be a professional product, if you can do a deep conditioner once a week, and not necessarily a protein treatment, not necessarily a reconstruction treatment, unless you want to start out with that, that's great.
Those?
So, okay, and just to be brief, like a protein treatment that I use with the product line that I use. So our hair is made up of proteins. So what the
nails and your hair.
Yeah.
Right.
So what the protein treatment does is it's liquid protein that, you deposit onto the hair while it's wet, and it saturates and builds the hair from the inside out. And even a treatment like that, every 6 weeks to 8 weeks, is a really important piece to add into a healthy hair care regimen. But even at the very basics, if you could put a good conditioner on once a week, let it sit on there for about half an hour or overnight if you're all that bold and have that much time. Even just that will add that much more moisture, and just overall it adds the strength,
right?
The flexibility, the shine.
Yeah.
I've
seen some beautiful,
that alone,
can
can really take your hair to the next level as far as health goes.
Right.
And so, especially with children that might have like a mixed curl texture or biracial hair, as we call it, mixed hair, keeping the hair moisturized, using a good conditioner, starting from the ends of the hair to comb out. And
that's another good thing that people commonly damage their hair by combing it out wrong. We should start from the edges and work our way up, or should we
start from first of all, if it's all that tangled to where it's extremely on the edge of being matted or knotted, maybe even just soak it down with conditioner first. That helps the comb to slide down more easily.
A detangler type.
But just a detangler type. But even just in regular combing, start from the ends. Make sure the ends are untangled and work your way up, section by section. The smaller the section, the better.
Yes. Wide tooth comb.
While it's wet and with a wide tooth comb is generally the best method versus while it's dry or with a small tooth comb.
Right. Speaking of wet hair, this is just a quick detour. Especially this time of year, lots of kids are going swimming. I'm so sad that the unfortunate statistic that black kids are more likely to drown than any other kids because they don't know how to swim, because they can't get their hair wet.
Right.
The girls, it's a mess. We got to do a little bit better.
We do.
And it's like to not let your kid learn how to swim all because you don't want to deal with combing their hair.
Slightly selfish, but we don't want to step on any toes.
Yeah, but I just don't. Mom had 4 girls, and we all took swim lessons. We got cornrows in the summer. Yeah,
protective styles they're really popular right now. Well, for more reasons than one. You can go swimming. You can work out. You can give your hair that break from the heat and the color or even the sun sometimes if you work outside or spend a lot of time outside. Overexposure to the sun, even adds to, potential
before you go
damage.
swimming.
Waterlog your hair.
It's good to keep it braided.
Yeah.
Right?
Or
It'll
even if your hair is out, waterlog the hair.
What is that?
Waterlogging is basically. So the concept is that cold air or water shrinks and warm opens up. So if you can soak your hair down really good with cold water before getting into, so like if you're at like a pool and you can stand under the showers that are provided.
They usually have those, yeah.
And waterlog your hair, so just basically letting cold water run over your hair. That will constrict the follicles and basically tighten each individual hair strand up, which then in turn keeps less chlorine or whatever else from getting into the hair shaft.
And that will make it easier afterwards. Yeah, I can remember cousins of ours or friends of the family, their mom being like, if you get your hair wet, you're going to get in trouble. You know, and I'm thinking to myself, well, that takes all the fun out of that.
Yeah, true. It's just worth the investment, especially for summertime. If it isn't but once a year. You know, get some quick braids, some cornrows.
Summer is the best time to get braids. Yeah, I don't like dealing with my hair.
The faux locks are really in.
Yes, they are.
Or even if you did a few, you know, did your own personal 2-strand twist or whatever it is, you know, that could be really beneficial in the long run as well as far as the health of the hair.
Right. So where can people find, well, I'll definitely share some of your information so that if, you know, locals, obviously the locals can, you know, they know where to find the help. But for people who are at a loss, either for themselves or for their own children, their own daughters or sons, if some people like to have their sons' hair grow out, where can they find some help, or where do you suggest that they do? I mean, if resources are limited, some people can't afford expensive products.
If you're looking for something very basic, and I'm not a brand ambassador for any particular product line except the one that I use.
Right. We'll make sure we include that.
Oh, sure. But just as far as general, something you can pick up, I don't know, in Walmart or Target. Pantene Pro V, the Relaxed and Natural line. They have a daily moisture, and all it is a cream conditioner that you can put on your hair at any time. If you can put that on your hair, you know, in the morning when you style it, and all you need is a dime-sized drop. I mean, obviously, depending on the texture, thickness and length of your hair, but you don't need much, you know, just to put something on it at night, something on it during the day, something to wrap it up with, something that you can put on it before you comb it. I mean, that particular product to me is one of the basics that anybody can access. You need $5 or $6.
Most expensive. Yeah, that's not one of the more expensive.
But it's a nicer size tube, and it'll last you a while. And it's a decent product, you know.
I use a lot of African Pride. That's what I used for the boys before I finally convinced Frank to cut them curls off. But that's what I was putting in their hair.
I know what you mean.
Which reminds me of another thing. Frank really didn't want to cut the boys' hair, and I would tell him, you know, especially Alex is my older one. His was just out of control, and I'm like, you can't just sit him outside without putting something on. You have to put something on his hair. Why? I'm like, you just don't understand. You have to. And so I would buy stuff for my own hair, but I would buy enough for them to use too. And I'm like, just put it on there just like now and then when you have hair and you want to spike it with gel or whatever. It's a similar process. Just put something on there just so it's not so dry and
wiry,
weird looking.
All over. And it helps to tame the hair.
Yes, it does. It gives you a little more control. It'll shrink it, if anything, because his hair was just too much. I was like, I cannot wait to mow that stuff off. Thank goodness. And hopefully it stays off. Yeah. Because it's just too much.
Now, granted, there are people that don't need a lot of anything to kind of get their hair in order. Another product that's not very heavy, but that is also really, still really good as far as the quality of the product. This particular line is called It's a 10. So it's IT_S_A and then the number 10.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, and they have really good products now. That is one of the ones that might be on the more towards the higher end of the spectrum as far as cost.
Yeah.
But again, when we're talking about quality and really getting your hair to a point where it's healthy and is lustrous, you can style it with no problem. You know, you're not experiencing breakage. You know, I feel like why not splurge a couple of extra dollars every couple of months?
It's a good investment.
Every couple of months, and just, you know, even if you go to the shop. And I know that not everybody is able, but if you can squeeze out, you know, once a quarter or once every 6 months just for a deep conditioning treatment and a good trim, then you're on your way.
Now, speaking of trims, there's a lot of misconceptions. You knew where I was going.
I know.
How often do you suggest people and we all have different types of hair, but I do know that a trim is good for any kind of hair.
It
It gives it a little room to breathe, and
there's a large misconception around hair cutting and hair trimming. I know that our hair naturally will grow anywhere from a quarter to a half an inch every 6 months, as far as, and I say our hair loosely because we know that some other cultures or nationalities hair types can grow slightly faster. Maybe an inch every 6 months or so, or even more sometimes. And even some hair that is more dense and thicker and more of a coarse texture can grow pretty fast too, such as yours. Your hair grows extremely fast. It baffles me.
Oh, really? Oh, well.
Oh, yeah. But the trim, not only does it help the hair to have a more neat look, it kind of gives you more cohesiveness. It does also allow you to be able to style that much more better, because those loose and wiry ends can get uncontrolled sometimes. But I would say that, I don't know, every 3 months is a good time to have a trim. Some people are a little bit more aggressive. Maybe they're upkeeping a particular style or something like that.
Right.
So they might go once a month or every 6 weeks. As far as whether or not it helps the hair to grow, if the trim actually helps the hair to grow faster, I would say that that's something that can be argued. And I would say that because the trimming of the ends of the hair, which is already dead hair, has no bearing on what's going on at your roots.
Got it.
If your scalp is healthy and your roots are stimulated, by brushing on a regular basis, keeping your scalp, not dry and everything, your hair is going to grow on its own. The ends, it just probably seems to grow a little bit faster, because once you cut it, you kind of know when it starts to come out of that shape.
Got it.
And so you'll notice, oh, hey, it's growing. Versus if it's all over the place on the ends and it's growing, you can't really see it.
This is true.
Because it's, it's not even and everything like that.
Got it. Okay, so that was and see, a lot of us, myself included, obviously this is not my area of expertise, but this is all things that you learn in cosmetology school, right? How to properly, and then some of it, of course, you acquire along the way, just with experience. You can't learn everything in school. Some things you learn more about as you further delve, into it. So,
and you know what? It's funny, because I did attend quote-unquote school. I was actually a part of an apprenticeship program through the state of California. And God blessed me to find a mentor in an amazing woman of God, Carla Brown Prayer of Rancho Cordova, California.
Who is also a business owner.
She is a business owner. She has a salon called Inner Beauty Hair Design. Look her up. She's a phenomenal woman, a phenomenal stylist. I wouldn't trade her for anyone. And not only that, but she knows her stuff.
Right.
So as a part of the apprenticeship, just to be short about that, you go to school once a week. And then you have to acquire a mentor.
You're talking about to get your license.
You're to get your license. If you want to become licensed through the program, you attend classes once a week as far as your book work and training for the actual exam. But your hands-on training, your styling techniques, your trial and error, that all comes in the salon that you work in.
Got it.
And so, like I said, Carla, she was an amazing part of my launching as far as a professional in the industry. And so I was really blessed. However, even that being said, and the fact that I took my career seriously working under her, that being said, though, they don't hold your hand. So if you don't get a good mentor, or if you yourself are not positively chasing after what you're trying to do, then you won't be successful. And the reason I say that is because you learn everything hands-on.
This is true.
And so I tell people, if you have that drive and you have that motivation and you already know what you're doing, somewhat, then you might be okay with the program like that. If not, that's okay. You want to learn from the ground up and you have the time to dedicate and the funds for that matter, then I would say definitely go to a more organized school structure, maybe like a Paul Mitchell or Marinello, or even where they can really hold your hand and teach you some of the techniques step by step.
Okay, so but you actually had to go and find your own.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a little harder because some people don't want to take the chance.
A quality mentor is absolutely hard to find. She was a blessing.
I'm so glad that worked out for you.
Oh yeah.
And you love to do it, you know, and you've gone on to launch your own business, a very successful one, by the way.
It's definitely a blessing.
That's just amazing. So we've talked about, you know, common misconceptions. We've talked about some regimens, you know, in reference to those who are interested in possibly making the transition. If they are interested, as you've referenced, there isn't necessarily, you know, anything bad about relaxed hair. Thank you again for listening to my concerns and my questions. And I do hope that people who are unfamiliar with, you know, natural hair and how to go about accomplishing that, and even those who have children who have a different heritage and a different background, who aren't as familiar with how to care for their child's,
yeah,
you know.
And this is not to, you know, put myself out there in any type of way other than what I'm saying. Is that I know what you mean, though. I felt bad, and as a stylist, I feel like it's my duty to, you know, my calling to help these young women out, you know, one head at a time, one hair wash at a time, because, you know, they're our future, and if they're feeling confident and, you know, empowered within themselves, then they become that much more of a successful member of society.
I would say having a bad hair day does kind of have an effect on the rest of your day too. In every aspect, it kind of just seems like, you know, when your hair is done and you're feeling good, it's just like nobody can take that joy from you. But boy, if your hair look a mess, it's like, oh, it kind of has a. That's for me anyway. It kind of just, oh, geez, I need my hair done.
Now one thing I do want to add before we wrap it up, because I know that I'm an optimistic person, so I talked about some of the things to kind of do. But if I might just add a thing or two to the do not do list.
Oh, right. That's a good, let's cover that ground then.
Let's cover that briefly. And I'll start with the number one kind of killer out there as far as healthy hair is concerned, is that heat. And I'm not talking about
damage.
I'm talking about heat damage. I'm talking about flat iron your bangs every day. I'm talking about curling it every day, and I'm talking about, you know, just that press, that flat iron that's turned too high, you know, that pressing comb that you done burned your edges out with.
Oh no.
You know.
Oh no.
You should put heat. An individual, now granted, from time to time, a quick touch up or a maintenance or a quick hit on the roots, you know, once a week is absolutely legal. But if you're frying your hair out every day, and it's, you know, you don't have to do that. Wash and condition your hair, and that's a great time to style it. As often as you wash and condition it. If you wash and condition your hair every day and you've resubmitted those conditioning essential oils back into your hair, then it can withstand the heat because it's not dried out.
Okay.
You know, heat dries the hair out. And so what happens is, a lot of times, is people will have a lot of damage or a lot of breakage or a lot of shedding because their flat irons are turned too high. Or
how high should they have it? There's usually 3 settings. Some of them have temperatures.
Medium is plenty.
Yeah.
You know, and if your hair is overly coarse, then you probably could get away with a high heat, but, you know, not for an extended period of time, and definitely not every day.
Yeah.
You know, and even some of the...
People really have time for that every day?
Hey, you'd be surprised.
Get up early.
You know, if you can wash your hair really good, condition your hair really good, have it styled, and then maintain it from there. So wrapping it at night, keeping it oiled, your scalp. You know, finding a nice gloss spray if you just want to add a nice little sheen to it. Yeah. You know, if you have to have curls every day, please invest in some foam rollers or even some electric rollers, you know, where you can just, you know, curl it and then not have to put the heat in it every day. Yeah. You know, that's going to be one thing. Yeah. Other than that, another major don't, I would say, is don't over process the hair. You know, if you have a relaxer, that's fine, but you don't need to relax it every 3 weeks. You don't need to relax it even every month.
Yeah.
Now, granted, if you have a really short cut and it's cut close to the head and close to the neck, you don't have but a half inch of hair anyway that's going to lay flat against your scalp. So, okay, fine. If that's how you're wearing it, fine. But if you actually do pursue to have length and healthy hair, a relaxer every 6 weeks is plenty. In fact, I have a few of my clients, and their hair isn't, good hair, quote unquote, as far as we know the term to be used.
Sure.
But they go 8 weeks,
2 months.
or sometimes even longer.
Wow.
As far as the relaxer is concerned. But that's again because they're keeping up and maintaining the health of their hair in between time.
What's interesting when
color too. Don't
yeah.
Coloring too often is a chemical process,
and they have natural colorings out there, like the henna. Which I'm not even sure how that originates. Is it like a leaf or is it I'm not even
sure.
It's a plant.
It's a plant.
But that's a natural coloring agent.
Now,
Speaking
it takes a lot longer to process, but it is a lot more healthy for the hair. So.
Yes, because it's more on the natural end, and it doesn't have a lot of added artificials.
Yeah.
Speaking of, going so long without perms, if I can be honest, I didn't even, when I first went natural, it wasn't even really something I thought about in advance. I just kind of, if you can recall, at the time we, were trying to get pregnant, and I kept miscarrying, and you'd be like, maybe you shouldn't get a perm right now. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And I hadn't gotten one since, and that was, let's see, Alex will be 4 next month. Actually, in 2 weeks.
Oh, congratulations.
Right. So it's been about 5 years. It takes 9 months to grow a kid.
Yeah.
So 5 years, give or take.
Yeah.
And that was kind of just, I just never, I was like, okay, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. And I didn't get it colored, perm, nothing.
That's another homage that I owe to the great Carla Brown Prayer.
Oh, really?
Because
see, I didn't know that part of the
she
story.
shared with me some of the experiences she had with some of her clients over the years. And that one of the things that we fail to remember is that even if we're just putting it on our scalp, it's still getting into our pores. It's still getting into our bloodstream. It may not have an adverse effect on our health as a whole, but you never know what's in those chemicals that could adversely affect.
This is true.
Your baby, your reproductive systems, which is why I've kind of tried to pull everybody over to the natural end. But I don't judge. If you want to relax, that's fine. Come on in, we'll give you one. but colors, and she even said the same thing about artificial nails.
Don't get your nails done too.
Yeah,
you know what?
It's the chemicals, and it goes back to the chemicals. It really does.
Yeah. Well, that's a very. I would dare say. I mean, you never know, because after that, it could just be coincidence. I don't really believe in all of that good luck kind of stuff. I feel that it's a blessing that we were able to finally, be successful. But I would dare say, anytime people ask me how long I've been natural, I always think, okay, how old is Alex? Because that was really what happened.
Jumpstart.
Yeah. So. Very interesting.
That worked out for you guys.
Me too. Very, very interesting the way that worked out. And who knows? But I would like to believe that had something to do with it. And everybody has their own opinion. Well, thank you very much for sharing your being so gracious. And I'll be, as I mentioned, I'll be sure to include Dahlia's contact information for those locals who are interested in getting their hair done. And you do have a couple out-of-city clients that come visit you.
Out-of-state, out-of-country.
Out-of-state, out-of-country as well. And or there's networking. Of course, she can direct you if you aren't able to trek this way. She can direct you to people. If you live in some of the major cities, you do go back and forth to the Bay Area as well as Los Angeles area frequently.
Often,
we can get you connected if you do desire to take this route. So we'll share that information with you. And
I am available for traveling engagements as well.
Weddings as well.
Weddings, any type of bookings, hair shows. Special occasion, birthday parties.
And you were featured in, I forget the name of the magazine.
Black Hair Magazine.
Black Hair Magazine. That was just, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah,
it was a few years ago.
back.
Yeah, and that was really cool. I'll see if I can share that article too. We'll get that information for you all for your viewing pleasure. Well, thank you again, Dahlia, my older sis, who has been my personal beautician. That word is dying off, isn't it? Nobody says that anymore.
Some people go by a beautification artist.
I don't know if I've heard that one.
I heard a guy termed himself beautification artist.
All right.
Right.
Well, I can dig it.
I can dig
that
it.
is essentially what's happening.
True. But the true and real title of our artistry is cosmetology.
Right.
Unless you specialize in cutting, then that would be considered a barber.
Right.
But the cosmetologist is more of a larger umbrella for the esthetician, the barber, the manicurist. We're really trained in a variety of areas versus any particular specialized area. So, and I like to remain open as far as the services that I provide. I thank God for the fact that I have the ability to take whatever walks in the door, person, man or woman,
right?
Haircut, color, chemical or natural, child or adult, whatever you need, I'm willing to work it out with you. And if it's something that I hadn't done before, it's a learning game for me too, because each person's hair is different. Each texture is different, each curl pattern is different. But I do like to take the time to understand my individual client, hear their concerns. What does your hair look like on a day-to-day basis? Because the way I curl it today or the way I style it today, it necessarily how it's going to look 3 days from now. So let's work together to find something that's going to work for you over the long time.
Right. And remember you were telling me too, you have to train your hair to, and I don't know if that works for all heritages or ethnicities, but I remember I really like updos. I always kind of have, and every now and then when I would want to wear it down, it was just your hair. Every now and then, your hair isn't used to being out. It's used to being up a lot. So for special occasions,
your hair does have a memory. It does have a memory.
It does, doesn't it?
Train it well, keep it healthy, and for any questions or concerns, you can find my contact information through Disha. Even if you never come see me a day in your life, I'm always willing and available to answer any questions. I'm available on Skype. For virtual consultations. So.
I'm so grateful that we have those resources nowadays, especially. And there's, I think, an application for Android and iPhone, right?
Yes.
For Skype. Okay, good. Well, thank you very much, you all, for tuning in to the Social Intelligent Podcast. I do hope we were able to enlighten those unfamiliar or even those who have a little bit of a background but just weren't really sure how to proceed. So thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Thank you.